Because of Disney's lack of success with their MCU recently, many were cautious about how they would treat Daredevil once they acquired him. Not gonna lie, I was one of them. I was very nervous about this show because of his appearance in She-Hulk.
Jen, I'm here to help.
Hey, Daredevil. You missed it. We're done. Sorry.
Everything? Oh, man.
And it just seemed obvious that he was put through the Disney filter. He was simply just way too happy. Daredevil's a dark character who wears his struggle on his face. Even though he has a mask, you can totally tell. And by not recasting him, letting Charlie continue to play that role, he brings along all the trauma, angst, and troubles that he had from the Netflix show. I mean, they made it canon. So because the Netflix show was so dark and dingy, my concern was if Disney was going to pull their punches. Would they try and recreate the continuation of that show, or were they going to Disneyfy the whole thing?
Hi, Daredevil.
And after finishing the first season of Daredevil Born Again, I can say that they tried to do both. They tried to respect Netflix's show while also telling a Daredevil story within the MCU. Before I get into it, make sure to head down in the comments and let me know what you think about Daredevil Born Again. While down there, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. I really like that within the first 15 minutes of the show, everything just popped off. They showed something that happened in the past that led to Matt stopping wanting to be Daredevil, which is his whole motivation throughout the show. After that happens, we then come to the present time where Matt moves out of Hell's Kitchen and he has a new firm and he's doing, his legal shit. On the other side of the coin, we have Fisk, coming back from being shot in the head in Echo. And I have to mention that because I don't know how many people saw Echo. Shit, I saw Echo and I forgot that happened. I remember it happened, but I thought it happened in Hawkeye. He's trying to come back to his empire that his wife Vanessa took over while he was gone. I love that Fisk's first line is simply, Vanessa. And just with that word, you can tell that the love he carried for her in that show is still here. They're the same characters. It's a handoff, if you will. Just by saying Vanessa, I already knew everything. It just was like a shot of all the love and everything he did for this lady. So eventually Fisk decides to run for mayor, which is a whole ordeal that weirdly mirrors real life in a way. Although, to be honest, I think I would vote for Fisk over anybody in politics today. But his whole campaign is about fixing the city and getting rid of vigilantes. That's his number one thing. No vigilantes. So because Matt finds out he's running for mayor, he meets up with Fisk to try to get to an understanding. If you be nice, I'll be nice. So no crime shit from Fisk, no vigilante shit from Matt. You do you, I do me, we cool, move along. Which should be easy to do since Matt has retired from being Daredevil. And because of that, in this show, there's way more courty court stuff than running around doling out putazos. But he still uses his powers to find shit out about his cases, tailing people, eavesdropping, and every once in a while, running into bad people and open up a huge can of whoop-ass. I did feel like they overdid it a little bit with his powers. I know that's what he does, but I wanted to know the technicality, and apparently he can hear over 40 feet away, or he can hear somebody on the other side of a soundproof room whisper something 20 feet away. But these fools would be like 3 blocks down, and then he would hear into the call in a 5-story building and the guy's whispering. So it's kind of like, it was inconsistent. So like, I didn't want that to ruin the show for me. So it kind of let it pass, but sometimes it felt like a reach. What seems way more realistic is him identifying people through their farts. Give me that, Disney. Tommy's coming. How do you know? Because he's vegan and he had a bean burrito for lunch. He's about 2 blocks away. There are a ton of side stories this season, and I like that they actually concluded them. And once they concluded, their ultimate goal was to feed into the overall story, which I feel that's what they should be. It's not just stuff happening just to happen. What I wasn't a huge fan of is that I didn't feel like there was much of an emotional experience or anything to really trigger him to get back into being Daredevil. Into him coming back and being Daredevil. Isn't that really a spoiler? Because that's literally the name of the show. If not, it would just be called Daredevil Born the One Time. Or Daredevil, hi, I'm still here. but he kind of just decided to get back into it. Yes, there is a motive and a reason to do so, but I guess I was looking for a more dramatic inner struggle from him to try to make the decision, a light bulb switch, and it's more like slowly progressing, but the drama really wasn't captured well. He was just kind of like, okay, I'll do it. But because the first episode establishes like basically a pinky promise between him and Fisk, I really wanted to see him struggle with him, like, well, if I do this, well, the consequences are going to lead to Fisk coming after me and me having to deal with Fisk again. Like, and it didn't really felt like that was anything that was weighing into his decision and becoming Daredevil again. But I did love that they focus a lot on the parallels between Fisk and Matt, a whole lot. They spend a lot of time in showing both sides because they're kind of the same type of person but approach things differently. They're very driven, they're very passionate, and they're forever tied together. So this is as much a Matt story as it is a Fisk story. And it did a very good job in showing us the reasons why each one of them does their thing. There's their motivation behind everything that they do. They gave Fisk a ton of time to show us his why. And his why is very simple. It's his lady. It's Vanessa. But simple things like that is what separates the good villains from the bad villains, is giving us their motive. And it doesn't matter what the motive is, it just has to make sense, and it could be simple. Like I said, his is just Vanessa. So that's one of the main reasons why Fisk is a great villain. They spend a lot of time in showing us his perspective. And I guess it is kind of by default, even though it feels like a diss, because Fisk is a great villain. But out of the ongoing threats right now, he's the number one guy. There's no Thanos anymore. I know that they're setting up Doom, but within the MCU, it doesn't feel like anything is brewing. They were doing that with Kang, but that's just thrown out the window, so they have to go back to the drawing board. But it doesn't feel like there's an ongoing threat right now. But even still, Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin is easily the best villain right now. He's one of the best villains overall. Even throwing Thanos in there, he could be top 3. You can always see that there's just a thin layer of protection between you and his rage. He could just be sitting there calmly eating dinner, and you can see in his eyes that he's subduing the rage. I don't know how actors do this when you move this part, but like a twitch. The D'Onofrio does it amazingly. There's a couple times where someone says something at him and pisses him off, and they twitch this part. How do you twitch that? How do you do that? How you act a rage twitch? I don't know. These people are amazing. I can't even look at the camera and read at the shit at the same time. I can't even puta madre. I can't even say this. I can't even remember these 2 lines that I wrote myself. I liked the White Tiger vigilante. Rest in peace to the actor Camar de los Reyes. He passed away in 2023 due to cancer. So he was kind of cool. I really did wish we would explore a little bit more of that character. He has a medallion and that gives him powers, but that wasn't really explained a whole lot, or I wanted more of a deep dive there. But there's also this other villain I found to be very interesting and kind of scary. I was really intrigued to see how that storyline would play out. They also name drop other MCU characters, and there is one whole episode dedicated to a side mission. Hey, Kaite! Never barks. That episode features someone adjacent to an MCU player, and I really didn't fully understand the purpose of the character. It really just feels like they were just dropped in to cross-pollinate the universe, to remind us, hey, this is the MCU because this character who knows this character is in here. They were just super blatant and in your face about it, like, hey, I know this person, yeah, I know, yeah, you wanna, this person, yeah, they're really cool, this person. Which I get, because you're kind of reintroducing him into this universe, but it shouldn't be that complicated. We're not dumb. We get it. We're watching it on the Disney Plus platform. We get it. We understand it's one universe. So if they would have used this character to push the story forward in any significant way, I would have been more stoked about it. And it's not even like the character is that important overall. It's just a character, again, who knows somebody. But I wanted them to have some sort of like vigilante discussion or a speech or something to convince Mac to be Daredevil again without blatantly talking about, Matt is being Daredevil. Like maybe this character would drop like a with great power comes great responsibility like line that triggers something within Matt to be like, oh shit, the city needs me, man. I need to do something. Something to that effect. Instead it was just like, we're gonna take this detour episode, which was a fun episode, but it was like, and this person's in here too. So I wasn't a huge fan of that. I was also not a huge fan of how they used Frank Castle, aka the Punisher. They kind of did the same thing. They kind of just showed him being in this world, which is disappointing because they literally were setting up a whole lot of interesting storylines, potential storylines that they could have gone with. You know, there was a bunch of seeds of questions that they were planting along the way that were just answered with a throwaway line that I did not like. I guess not a huge spoiler, but throughout the world they show the Punisher logo on graffiti. Some guys, you know, who were doing bad things had them tattooed on their arm, or they had a patch or something showing that the Punisher logo and what he like represents is a movement within the world. So when Matt tracks him down because somebody with his logo does something bad, he just says like, oh, well, whatever, they're just fanboys, that wasn't me. But it's like, yo, these people are still running around using your logo to do bad stuff. You don't care that's the reputation that they're kind of leaving for you? You don't care? Which really sucks because I love the chemistry between Charlie and John Bernthal. Of course, a lot of it has to do with their past shows because their past is in play here. Because it really feels like the actors use their past to fuel their performances, which in turn, as a viewer, you can see their dynamic instantly. And they just play off brilliantly off of each other. You know, they come in, he's jokey, then he's pissy, and then they're shouting at each other, and then there's like, they're like childhood friends that separated for a long time, but they come back together. So like no matter what happens, they understand each other in a way because they're also very similar characters that go about it a different way. And I really, really wanted to see that. Plus, Bernthal is just so good as a Punisher. I just wanted to see more. So luckily it seemed like to me Marvel didn't throw any character through the Disneyfy machine. Matt felt the same as he did in the Netflix show, so did Frank. They weren't really cracking jokes where they weren't supposed to. There's like a couple throwaway jokes that are not really supposed to be like ha 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 funny. It's just like light-hearted moments within the show. But every character felt serious and purposeful. I also think that moving out of Hell's Kitchen from the jump was very smart because you're still within New York, but you can take it as a different setting and it could be seen as totally different in a totally different place with different restaurants, different locales and all that other stuff. Plus the show feels very different, the vibe and the way it's shot. It is very much the same dish served differently. Especially in the fight scenes. It doesn't have the same grit and maybe like ruthlessness, violence that the Netflix show has. The fights to me here felt more choreographed than Netflix. I could almost see the actors thinking what their next move was going to be. They used the same stunt coordinator, so I don't know why it felt that way. There's also some use of CGI within the fights that I really did not like. I was not a fan of it. They just speed up things really quickly, but it just comes out of left field that it looks messy and obvious. But this is not to say that there were bad fights. They did cool shit, but I don't think that any of the shit that they did was cool enough to make an imprint in my brain. Maybe there's a cool billy club throw in the back of the head or a cool use of a weapon, or I do remember this one time that they're fighting on a staircase. They love their tight spaces, giggity. But Daredevil's trying not to be found out and like the shotgun's about to fall and make noise and he catches it and then the way he hits him. So that was a move that stuck out to me. There's this other fight in Layer that was cool, but I don't remember a specific move that happened within the fight. So there's nothing as iconic as season 1's hall scene. I don't know what it's due to. Like again, the choreography isn't bad by any means. It's just I feel like it was shot too far away. I'm not sure what the problem was for me, and that maybe I'm the only one that feels that way. It does feel like the Netflix one was definitely more violent, but I also think that the gap between the Netflix one and the Disney one regarding the violence, that gap isn't too big that it hurts Born Again. The show is still pretty violent. There's a lot of head smashings, bone breakings, headshots. Like I said, it is violent. It's the most violent Disney show Marvel's ever done. But I do wonder if they could turn it up even more. How darker could they go? How violent are they willing to go? What lines are they willing to cross? Because what I think about is like whenever they do anything with the Punisher, his stuff has to be bonkers. Just because of how the character is. Like you have to go to the limit where you're like, hey, can I even put this on any show or streaming or whatever? There isn't much that shocks us nowadays. But the way that character is, You have to go to those limits every single time, using what's around him to inflict the most possible pain. That's how you have to choreograph. That's how you have to think about the Punisher fights. Yes, he has guns, but in the close combat or whenever they're one-on-one, that type of stuff, any scenario that needs it, that's how you have to think. How can I inflict the most amount of pain? They also curse quite a lot, earning their rated R or whatever the hell this is rated. But I don't think they overdid it. They used it efficiently enough, I think. The music was really good as well. There's a little bit of the Batman to it with the piano, but they used it a lot to increase the drama, like when a light bulb turns out or when he has to like do something, they drop that sound. Maybe it's just me, but I do feel like people came out loving the Netflix Daredevil show more after the fact. Like overall, like it's a good show, it's a fun show, yeah, but I feel like once Disney had a hold of it, the show was the best show ever and you can't touch it, and it's like, well, you just don't want Disney to mess with it. That's how at least I feel. And to be fair, Disney's been doing things that make you think that. They do changes and they mess around with characters that they shouldn't really supposed to. Or like I said throughout this whole video, they put them through this Disneyfying machine and it makes them all feel the same.
Hi, Daredevil.
But what they did here seems like they did a good job in continuing the Netflix show, respecting the story of the past and the characters and their relationships and their storylines. It doesn't feel like they Disneyfied it too much. It's the same character this season because he's trying to figure out to be Daredevil. There's much more drama and less fighting. But overall, I thought it was a good season. If this is going to be, let's say there's 4 or 5 seasons, and if this is the best season, then it's a meh show. But if this is going to be the worst season and they're just going to keep increasing the bar and get better and better and better and better from here, then I'm actually not too cautious about Disney having the Daredevil property. I'm kind of excited to see where they could take this character. But I'm still waiting for them to drop something Midnight Suns related. I don't think they ever confirmed that they're going to use the Midnight Suns, but they should. I feel like they should try to go the DC route for once. Have different worlds or have different areas within the MCU to tell a story. You can have your girl Avengers over here doing whatever the hell, but then over here have the Midnight storyline going along with them killing beasts and monsters or whatever, you know, introduce Ghost Rider, Daredevil, have Punisher in there, Elektra, Moon Knight, Blade. This is so sad. I don't know why I brought him up. I'm gonna be sad now. I heard 2028 is when that movie could be coming out. Why is Blade so hard? I feel like I've done this in past reviews. Why are they struggling to do Blade? It's a half-blood that kills vampiros. Why are you guys struggling so much? What are you doing? You cast the perfect guy. Now just do the thing. What are you doing? It's my fault. I brought it up. I shouldn't have brought it up. Anyway. Those are my thoughts on Daredevil Born Again. Make sure to leave me yours down in the comments. What did you think about this season? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Why? Why not? Any and all thoughts, feel free to vent them down in the comments. What would you want from a season 2? What would you want from the Daredevil character overall moving forward? Chances are they are not going to do what you think, but it's still fun to speculate and think about it. So while you're down there typing away, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to always and forever, you do you. Oh, I was been stuck in there for a while.